Georgetown, Texas looks like one friendly Texas town on the map, and it is. But once you get here, you realize there are very different sectors of Georgetown that have a very different feel. Some areas have higher taxes because of municipal utility districts. I started this video out as ranking Georgetown neighborhoods worst to best, but then it occurred to me that your best neighborhood might not be my best neighborhood on my list. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to rank the neighborhoods, but I'm going to rank them based on attributes and negatives. And you can decide which one is worst or best for you. I'm Stuart Sutton. I've been helping families move to and within Georgetown, Texas for over 3 decades. And I use a lot of factors that you're not going to find on listings, on real estate sites, in the news. And those factors can help you determine which area might be the best one for your specific situation. So let me get into this ranking process and we'll show you what Georgetown has to offer you from worst to best. So let's start with the first tier of housing I'm going to share with you in Georgetown, Texas, and that is smaller, more affordable homes that are in a little bit more mature neighborhoods. These are spotted in different areas in Georgetown, Texas, but there are some common denominators that you might want to take into consideration when you think about this type of housing. First of all, most of these homes were built in the 60s, 70s, 80s, maybe the 90s, and they have aged a little bit. Some of the neighborhoods aren't as well maintained as you might usually expect because there are no HOAs in these older areas, and these are really starter homes. So a lot of times buyers get into these homes and they can't afford extensive maintenance, so the houses tend to look a little less than, well, peak, I guess is the best way to put it. They're not really pristine type neighborhoods. They're still nice, but they're not what you would expect in driving through a country club area, of course. So one of the things that you see in these areas is that some of them are really quite close to downtown Georgetown. Easy access to a lot of different things because of their locations. I'm about to show you that in just a second. So we're going to show you a couple of the neighborhoods that I would categorize in Tier 1. This is kind of an entry-level neighborhood. I'm going to show you a couple. One is Crystal Knoll. It's kind of out on the northeast fringe of Georgetown. Another is Rita Trails, which is right here off of Williams Drive, which is a major thoroughfare in Georgetown and really a pretty advantageous place to locate. Now, as we start right here in Rita Trails, you're going to see that these are mostly one-story, 3-bedroom, 2-bath garages. Now, how can you tell 3 bedrooms from the outside? Well, the size of the homes accommodates 3 bedrooms nicely. Once in a while, they'll slip a 4th bedroom in there and add a little extra square footage. For the most part, these are 3-bedroom variations of floor plans. So as you move down the street, you see they're kind of similar. Most of these are, once again, 1-story, 2-car garages, and they were built in the 80s and 90s. Rita Trails is a neighborhood that is well located. There's not an HOA, so you'll see things like trash cans up against garage doors or on the side of the house within view. You don't typically see that within HOAs. But again, entry-level pricing below $300. Some of the larger footprints will get up to $350, and some of the remodeled ones will even get higher than that. And yes, flippers are going in here and remodeling these homes. Who would buy homes in these type of neighborhoods? Well, first-time home buyers certainly could. Budget-conscious buyers could. Investors, this is right for rental properties. And flippers are starting to come into neighborhoods like this and refurbish homes and raise that price point a little bit. So you're going to see that continue in these type of neighborhoods. Now I'm going to show you some areas that I would call Housing 201 in Georgetown, Texas. These are neighborhoods that push a little higher price range, really kind of up to $400 and more in some cases, but they're a little newer, built in the early 2000s, and HOAs. But what we're looking at this point is more of the 2-story style homes and more of the spacious homes with up to 2,000 and more square feet. In the previous neighborhoods, we saw mainly under 1,500 square feet. These are neighborhoods that, again, are reasonably located. They're not way far out because Georgetown isn't a large city, but it is actually now very spread out with a lot of the new development that's taken place. But this category, Housing 201, all these neighborhoods are within a very reasonable distance of downtown Georgetown. Let me show you on a map. Now, the one that's actually probably slightly more removed moved is the Villages at Berry Creek. You can see it is out here off 195, so it is a little drive into downtown Georgetown, but it's really not that far. As you can see, what I mentioned earlier is the case in the Villages at Berry Creek. You have more space in the homes. These are larger homes, and this is an HOA monitored neighborhood, but the price point is still very good, well below the median. You can get just about any home in the Villages at Berry Creek for $300 to $350. Some of the larger floor plans will push up beyond that, of course. So as we walk up a street in the Villages at Berry Creek, you see the type of housing that you have: 2 stories and 1 stories, a little larger footprints, but a little bit more meticulous type of neighborhood because of the HOA, of course. This particular neighborhood does have pool and park for the kids, and it's popular with families who are getting into their first home, as well as downsizers who want 1-story homes in a lovely neighborhood. All right, we are making our way through. This is the 3rd tier, Housing 301 in Georgetown, Texas. Now, this category of housing is going to consist of slightly larger than the previous categories and neighborhoods that are slightly different. Not necessarily upscale, though, yes, upscale, but also some neighborhoods with larger lots. This is where the larger lots begin, the half acre, the acre. Now, if I categorized all the many neighborhoods in Georgetown, that would be quite the list. What I'm trying to do is give you a very good sampling of the type of housing that we have in each area, in each price range, in each category, if you will. So Housing 301 consists of homes that would be on half an acre or even an acre. Now, these aren't the more pristine HOA governed 1 acre plus neighborhoods, because some people, as you have seen previously, don't really want to be in an HOA. As a matter of fact, I did a video on HOA versus non-HOA. Now we're going to look at Serenata. It has half acre lots as well, but it also, you can get into a 1 acre lot in this category 3, in this price range. So around $475 to $650-ish, $675 maybe, you can get into a home on a full acre. And that really adds to the space, to the privacy, to the elbow room. And it is being revitalized. There's a lot of homes in Serenata that were built in the 60s, 70s, and 80s being remodeled, brought up to date. But it is a unique neighborhood in that it is mostly 1-story homes again, but most of them are between 2,000 and 3,000 square feet, and on a half acre in some sections, and a full acre in some sections. And when you're on a full acre, you just have more space, more privacy. 1 acre offers the ability to put a pickleball court, swimming pool, trampoline, playscape, workshop, add 2 more garages. There's just a lot of things you can do on an acre that you can't do on a smaller lot. So the pros are the extra space, fantastic shade trees, entry price point, a lower price point into the 1 acre plus real estate market. Well, there are a few cons as well. For example, these homes in Serenata were built in the 70s and 80s, so it's very typical to have all the bedrooms on one side of the home. But you can do some remodeling in Serenata homes to bring them up to date, but sometimes the floor plan kind of restricts what you can do. The open family and kitchen and dining concept is popular. As a matter of fact, you rarely see a home without that now, but you'd have to typically do a remodel in Serenata to do that. Now, if you find a remodeled home in Serenata that already has that, you're 1 step ahead. And you do have septic systems instead of public wastewater. Now, septics are not a big deal. I've probably dealt with as many septics as anybody you'll meet. And I'm not going to have a conversation about it, especially if you're watching this close to dinner time. And most of the 1 acre neighborhoods don't have natural gas. But propane is a really nice option if that's available. And in most cases, it can be done. Buyers who want to buy in Serenata would be those who want elbow space, want a little more privacy, want to be able to do what they want, add things to their property, park their boat, their RV, whatever the case is, and still be close in. You see, Serenata is still in 78628, which is considered the close-in zip code. The next zip code is 78633, and mentally we kind of think of that as starting to get farther out. So we talked a lot about Serenata. Let's take a look at Serenata. So we're looking down on Google Maps into a regular neighborhood. This is Georgetown Village. We've already talked about Georgetown Village, and you can see the houses sitting along the streets and the parks and the little green areas in the neighborhood. But then I'm going to move you very quickly to Serenata. I want you to look at the difference in these lots. These are very, very spacious. See how far apart the houses are? This is pretty much what an acre lot is going to do for you. Look at all the trees in Serenata. So the privacy in Serenata, the size of the lot, the buffer between houses, if that's something that someone's looking for, then this is a good option in this price range. And now we're backing out for the big picture. Again, here's downtown, here's Serenata. So still considered pretty close in. The change in the zip code happens right about here, right on this side of Serenata. Zip code changes to the west. So in Serenata, sometimes it's hard to see the house from the street because it sits well back off the road and there are a lot of trees. Now I just want to show you the distance between these houses. See the one on the left, one on the right? There's a nice distance between houses on an acre. And this one, as you can see, the house is right there on the left, down the curved driveway. And then there's another garage that was added over on the right. So there's a lot of opportunities to do things like this in Serenata. And here's another one. You see the house over on the right. It's actually facing the street to the right. But then they built a workshop back over to the left. And that's the type of thing you can do in Serenata because of the lack of HOA restrictions. And yes, you're going to see homes once in a while that are just not well maintained, but that's part of living in an area like Serenata, having the freedoms that you have. Hopefully this has given you a good idea of what Serenata offers and the 1 acre plus type home offers in this price range. Now, Georgetown, Texas has so many different types of housing to offer, including those on large lots, which have septics, sometimes wells, sometimes fencing and private roads. And most agents just aren't familiar with the nuances. And I've seen buyers spend a lot of extra money they didn't need to because their agent wasn't familiar with this type of transaction. So if you'd like to make sure that you have the experience and the expertise necessary, you can download my guide, 1 Acre Plus Buyer Guide, in the description below. And the same goes for the 55 plus market. Georgetown has a variety of those type of communities, from boutique small communities to massive communities like Sun City. And we do have a unique 55 plus buyer guide that should be very helpful as well. And I'm just going to admit it to you, these videos are done out of sequence, not necessarily a full video done all at once. Housing 401, Tier 4 in Georgetown, Texas. So this type of housing is going to be a little bit newer, probably not need updating or remodeling. The price point's going to be $650 to $800. Some will be above, some will be below. But the quality of the housing, the quality of the neighborhood, we're going to see some master plan communities. But when it comes to homes, for example, on an acre, there just aren't enough homes to add a lot of amenities because there's not enough people in the community because of the sheer size of the lots. But in the typical subdivision master plan communities, we're going to see some amazing amenities with these communities. And we're going to start with probably one of the most famous, and that is Wolf Ranch. It's very highly searched and gets a lot of publicity. Wolf Ranch is unique in that it includes an array of price ranges from the 300s all the way up to well over $1 million. And what's really cool about Wolf Ranch is the even distribution across the board. Another pretty cool and unique factor about Wolf Ranch is 8 different builders. Most subdivisions will have 2 or 3, sometimes 4, maybe 5, but 8. And most of those are actually award-winning builders. Homes of every size, type, price range. Wolf Ranch even includes one of the coolest homes around, and that is a 3D printed home. There's a whole neighborhood of them in Wolf Ranch. And the amenities are, well, as extensive as it gets. 3 different pools, 16 miles of trails, sport courts, dog park, splash pads. Wolf Ranch pretty well has it all. And the location is absolutely unbeatable. It is literally right at the edge of I-35, not on I-35, slightly removed. There's apartments between Wolf Ranch and I-35 and retail, but there's a huge H-E-B right there by Wolf Ranch, and that's a big deal in Texas. Wolf Ranch shopping right across the highway. Downtown Georgetown right across the highway. So Wolf Ranch is hard to beat, but I'm going to forewarn you of one thing right now. The resale market in Wolf Ranch is one of the weakest in Georgetown. Now don't let that scare you, because the new homes market is a strong one on a comparative basis. It's very hard when you're reselling a home in a neighborhood with a very strong builder presence. They can offer things homeowners can't offer. They can buy down rates. They can offer incentives. They can do things that you just can't do. They can slash prices when you really can't do that. So that doesn't mean it's going to be the same thing next year and the year after and the year after. But right now, the Wolf Ranch market is one of the weakest for resale homes in Georgetown, just so you know that. But enough talk about Wolf Ranch. We know that people who buy there absolutely love it for many reasons. So let's take a look at Wolf Ranch. So let me give you an idea on the map where Wolf Ranch is located. Again, downtown Georgetown is right here, famous Blue Hole Park, and across the highway right over here is Wolf Ranch. This is all Wolf Ranch here. This is all Wolf Ranch here. And you can see this big giant HEB. Yes, if you're a Texan, you love HEB. But it doesn't end there. So we have Wolf Ranch Parkway. See how it goes across 29? And then it continues on. All of this is Wolf Ranch. And the last section of Wolf Ranch is being built right here. So Wolf Ranch is a very expansive neighborhood with a fantastic location. We're moving on to the last tier. That's Housing 501 in Georgetown, Texas. We've got some beautiful areas to show you, and we're going to start out with really kind of the king of Georgetown, and that is Sun City. Now, Sun City starts in the low 200s all the way up to 900,000. Why would I put Sun City in Tier 5 when it has homes that are $200,000 and $300,000? Well, that's one of the reasons. It has very lovely homes in all price ranges, and those homes are in gorgeous settings. The neighborhoods are beautifully maintained, lots of trees. In some sections there are no trees, but those are the more modern, newer homes out on the west side. Sun City has 3 18-hole golf courses. How could you not put a neighborhood in Tier 5 that has 3 18-hole golf courses? And not just golf courses, they're gorgeous golf courses. The water features and the trees and the landscape, and I mean, they're just incredible. And Sun City has everything else you could possibly want. Yes, it's a 55-plus community, so it's not going to be for everybody, of course. And there are other 55-plus communities in Georgetown, and they are lovely. But this is a Tier 5 community. 10,500 homes at completion, nothing even close to it anywhere around here in Central Texas. Size range, 1,000 square feet to 3,500 square feet. Now, I think there are some floor plans that have more. Houses it back to green belts, that back to the golf course. Now, Sun City itself has a relatively weak resale market at this time. There's still new construction going on, but the resale market itself isn't below the range that we see in Georgetown, Texas, but it's the weak end of the range that we see in Georgetown, Texas. Inventory is a little higher than typical, and homes are taking a little longer to sell than typical, but still steady. Sun City seems to go through the cycles, sometimes with the rest of the real estate market, sometimes on a different pattern than the rest of the real estate market. So who is Sun City for? Well, golfers. If you love golf, you'll love Sun City. But you don't have to be a golfer to live there. There are over 100 clubs in Sun City with all kinds of hobbies and interests. There's also, of course, tennis and pickleball and everything else you could possibly want. The HOA is $158 a month. If you want to have your lawn maintained, there is an elevated HOA fee. But my understanding is that when you compare dollars to dollars, that can certainly pay off as well. What most people like about Sun City is not only the wonderful ambiance and the fantastic appeal, it's beautifully landscaped, it's serene, it's quiet, but the development style. So you go into different areas, and you'll see this on the map. You go into different areas and you don't meander throughout the entire subdivision. There are different sections with their own entrances, and there are a lot of sections in Sun City. So the pros are certainly the vast amenities, the fantastic maintenance, and the very practical development style. This is a great lock and leave neighborhood. People are comfortable locking up their house and going up north for a few months. The cons might simply be the restrictions, because there are some restrictions and they are tight. But that's part of what you sign up for when you live in Sun City. So I'm going to show you on the map real quick. Sun City is pretty expansive. It's a large neighborhood. Literally could take you 10, 12, 15 minutes just to get across the neighborhood. But here is the neighborhood all the way from here, all the way over to there. As I have with other areas, let me show you the distance of downtown Georgetown. Now you can see that Google Maps says it's 19 minutes one way and 21 minutes another. I really think it's faster. I've driven it so many times, I can't tell you. And I just don't think it's a 20-minute drive from Sun City to downtown Georgetown. Now, if you move to Sun City, you'll get used to driving around the neighborhood in a golf cart. A lot of people do that. So the time estimate in a golf cart from Sun City to downtown Georgetown is about a day and a half. So you probably want to pass on that. Historic downtown. Now, that doesn't mean each home is historic. You do have to meet some pretty stringent criteria to meet that particular definition of historic home. But the area is historic. These homes, unlike the ones I put in a different category, are the more pristine, larger homes. We're talking about old, remodeled homes that have been updated either with kind of modern standards, but kept the old character, or those that were totally remodeled, keeping the old character. They're just absolutely impressive. Now, the homes close to Georgetown, Texas that are over $600,000 will go up to, well, right now, about $1.6 million, and that's the recent past. These homes, again, were built in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, some before, and for the most part, for that price range, you can start at about 1,800 square feet and then get up to pushing 4,000 square feet. But keep in mind, you're going to get less square footage for your money, but you're going to get more character per square foot. That's probably a good way to put it. The homes around downtown Georgetown have a fairly average market. What I mean by that is there's a 6-month supply of homes, which is considered normal. And that's the case in a lot of other neighborhoods around Georgetown, and Georgetown as a whole is just over 5 months supply. Now, the pros of this area are very straightforward. You are very close to downtown. If you love that type of lifestyle, want to be close to those restaurants, in those coffee shops, in those boutiques, you just can't beat the location. And of course, the character of the houses and the character of the neighborhoods. It just gives you a different feel than when you're out in a suburban neighborhood. If you like this type of lifestyle, the list of pros is endless. Cons, well, you may or may not care, but you do get a little bit less space for your money and a little more maintenance for your money. These homes will be in the $300 plus price per square foot, up to $400 and even $500 per square foot. So Tier 5 around downtown Georgetown, some within walking distance, some within just a couple of minutes via golf cart or scooter. If that's the type of life you want, it's right here, available for you in Georgetown, Texas. So what we're looking at is the downtown Georgetown area. You can see that the housing extends, well, quite a few blocks in both directions. And a lot of the larger, more impressive homes are right here on the other side of 29. But again, very quick access to downtown and all of the events and all of that is there. Let's look at some of the homes. So we're on Olive Street. A lot of people in Georgetown know Olive Street. It's got some very cool houses. It's not the only one by any means, but as you travel along the street, you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about. These old houses, see that front porch all the way across the front. And as you move along, you see that that's not unique. You've got quite a few homes like this. These are remodeled, and the extent of the remodel has a lot to do with what the value will be. And here is a very pretty one as well. A lot of people love these homes. They remind them of what they grew up in, or they remind them of the era that they grew up in. Now, see, as you move along here, you expect to see Andy and Opie and Aunt B sitting on the porch drinking tea and waving at you. I mean, that's just the kind of neighborhood this is. So whether you're considering a move next month or next year, make sure you're working with someone who's intimately familiar with what's going on in Georgetown, Texas, the diversity of housing, expertise in each of those areas, and how it could affect you with your current lifestyle and future home values. Like I mentioned in this video, there are some very hot areas that may not have the resale statistics that excite you about moving there. So make sure you know all the details that you need to know to make the best decision for you. My information's on the screen. As you can tell, I'm passionate about Georgetown, Texas. And if you're looking to live here, or if you live here and are looking to move, call, text, email, or just set a time on my calendar there. Thanks for watching. Remember, it's your choice, so make it a powerful day.